There's a moment you know too well, a room full of people, laughter bouncing off the walls, conversations overlapping, fast, effortless, alive. And you're there, but not really there. You're watching, listening, measuring, carefully choosing every word before it even reaches your lips, and then deciding it's safer not to say it at all. So you stay quiet, not because you have nothing to say, but because somewhere along the way, you learn that speaking comes with a cost. And what's unsettling, what most people never realize, is this: your silence is not your personality. It's your protection. But here's the paradox. The very thing that once protected you is now the thing quietly isolating you. Because silence does something subtle over time. It doesn't just hide you from others. It begins to hide you from yourself. You start to question your own voice. You second guess your thoughts. You shrink your presence before anyone even asks you to. And eventually, you don't just choose silence. You become it. To understand this pattern, we need to go deeper than personality labels like introverted or reserved. Because this isn't about preference. This is about conditioning. Psychology has a term for this kind of adaptation: hypervigilance. It's what happens when your nervous system learns, early on, that the environment is unpredictable. You become highly attuned to tone shifts, facial expressions, subtle changes in energy. You scan for danger, even in safe spaces. And when you grow up in an environment where expression led to criticism, rejection, or emotional neglect, your brain makes a decision. Silence is safer than being seen. Another concept at play here is emotional neglect schema. This forms when your emotional needs, being heard, validated, understood, were consistently unmet, not necessarily through abuse, but through absence. You spoke, and no one really listened. You felt, and no one really noticed. So over time, your mind adapts. My voice doesn't matter. And then there's avoidant attachment. This is where closeness feels dangerous, where vulnerability feels like exposure. So instead of expressing yourself openly, you pull back. You keep things inside. You maintain distance, even when you crave connection. These aren't personality quirks. They are neural adaptations. Your brain literally rewires itself for survival. Your default mode network, the part of your brain responsible for self-reflection, becomes overactive. You spend more time thinking than expressing, more time analyzing than engaging. And slowly, your inner world becomes louder than your outer one. But here's the part no one talks about: the grief, the invisible kind, the grief of all the things you never said, the conversations you rehearsed in your head but never had, the emotions you swallowed because they felt too heavy for others. It builds, quietly, relentlessly. Carl Jung once said, "The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely." But how do you accept yourself when you spent your entire life hiding parts of who you are? Because silence isn't empty. It's full of unsaid truths, unexpressed anger, unacknowledged desires. And the deeper truth, you didn't choose silence because you're weak. You chose it because you're sensitive, because you're perceptive, because you notice things others didn't. But that sensitivity came with a cost. You became the observer instead of the participant. You became the listener instead of the one being heard. And over time, this creates a core fear, the fear that if you truly express yourself, you will be misunderstood, rejected, or dismissed. So even in simple moments, introducing yourself, sharing an opinion, saying no, there's tension, there's hesitation, there's that quiet voice asking, is it safe to be me right now? And this is where it starts to show up in your life, not as quietness, but as patterns. You might, in relationships, struggle to express your needs. You listen deeply to others, but rarely feel truly known. You avoid conflict, even when something hurts you. You become emotionally available to others, while staying emotionally hidden yourself. In your career, you have ideas, strong ones, but you hesitate to share them. You downplay your intelligence. You let louder voices take credit for things you thought of first. In your self-worth, you question your value, not because you lack ability, but because you lack expression. You don't see your impact because you don't externalize it. In your boundaries, you say yes when you mean no. You tolerate discomfort to avoid confrontation. You let things slide until they quietly exhaust you. In emotional regulation, you suppress instead of release. You internalize instead of process. You feel deeply but express minimally. In your identity, you don't fully know who you are because your identity has been shaped more by observation than participation. But here's the crucial shift. These are not personality traits. They are coping mechanisms. And coping mechanisms can be unlearned. The first step is awareness, not judgment, not self-criticism. Witnessing, seeing your silence not as a flaw, but as a strategy that once kept you safe. And asking yourself, is this still protecting me or is it limiting me? Healing doesn't mean becoming loud. It doesn't mean forcing yourself into extroversion. It means something deeper. It means reclaiming your voice safely, gradually, intentionally. One of the most powerful tools here is inner child reparenting. This is where you begin to give yourself what you didn't receive: validation, permission, emotional safety. You start telling yourself, what I feel matters, what I think deserves to be heard. Then there's nervous system regulation, because your silence isn't just mental, it's physiological. Your body learned that expression equals danger. So practices like slow breathing, grounding, and mindful exposure to speaking up help retrain your system. You show your body, it's safe now. Another step is shadow work. This is where you confront the parts of yourself you've suppressed, your anger, your opinions, your desires, not to become someone else, but to become whole. Because healing is not about replacing silence with noise. It's about choosing expression when it matters, choosing presence over protection, choosing authenticity over invisibility, and maybe the most important shift of all, choosing softness over survival mode. There's a quote by Rainer Maria Rilke that captures this perfectly. No feeling is final, which means the fear you feel when speaking up, not permanent. The hesitation, not permanent. Even the identity you built around being the quiet one, not permanent. You are not your silence. You are the person behind it. And that person deserves to be heard, not perfectly, not loudly, but honestly. So start small. One sentence, one truth, one moment of choosing yourself. Because the goal was never to fix you. The goal is to become whole.